Hi there guys, it's Martyn here, and welcome to this video. So, if anyone doesn't know, there is a Time to Believe collection that Disney put out last May that consisted of about 22 titles, and when I last talked about it, we covered the new release of the 5th Pirates film, making it 23. And as you notice, some of them are down here because they have in fact released 7 new titles to this range, which is very exciting, making the grand total up to 30. And I thought I'd make a quick video just detailing what's come out, what I've seen, etc. So there are 7 titles, and they are Bedknobs and Broomsticks, Pete's Dragon, the original, Return to Oz, The Rocketeer, 102 Dalmatians, Saving Mr. Banks, and Into the Woods. And I quite like the selection on this one because I remember when Time to Believe first came out, of course they didn't cover everything, and I wondered if they were going to fill in the gaps, and they seem to start to be doing that. And we've got a whole range here. So, without further ado, let's get into talking about these movies. So the first one is Bedknobs and Broomsticks from 1971, and I have very fond memories of this film. This was one Disney film I remember growing up with. There's the spine, by the way. Like this new cover they've done, very classy, and obviously there are your main cast of characters on the magical flying bed. Set in World War II, there's your little description. And of course, Angela Lansbury is in this, one of Disney's most beloved sweethearts. You know, she's just so, she makes you smile, and you know, she just fills you with warmness every time you watch it. And there's a wealth of special features on here, including a recording session of Portobello Road, etc, etc. Let's have a quick look at the cover underneath. And this bills itself as the special edition, and I haven't seen this cover before. I wonder if this is brand new for this release, but it's quite nice. So you've got the characters there like before, but you've also got some of the characters from the animated world, because of course this is a sort of, it's mainly live action, but there is an animated segment where they play football. There's the Briny Boys, etc. The back is pretty much the same. So yeah, that is a lovely cover to go with a lovely slip, and it's a great film. If you've never seen Bedknobs and Broomsticks, I highly recommend it. One of Disney's best live action efforts. And because this is from 1971, it will take its place here between Mary Poppins and the Black Hole. Moving on, we have Pete's Dragon from 1977. So this is the original, which again is a mixture of live action and animation. Now, I've got to be honest, I've never seen this film. There's the spine, all cartoony. A lot of people speak highly of it. It's a favourite for many who probably grew up with it and remember watching it. As I said, this was one I never did watch, but it's one I've been told to check out when I get the chance. It's over 2 hours long, who knew? Let's have a look at the underneath. And there you go, I've seen this cover a few times, so I'm not sure if this is a new release, but anyhow, there is the artwork for that there with your main cast of characters. Here is the back. It's a brazzle-dazzle day, I'm sure it is when you watch it. So, yeah, I am aiming to get round to this film. It's not one that was high on my list, not one I remember, but from what I've been told, if you've ever seen it or interested, it's worth your time. And as it's 77, it will take its place right next to Bedknobs and Broomsticks on the shelf. Moving on, we have Return to Oz, which came out in 1985, and like most, there you go, as the Time to Believe new collectible sleeve sticker. So this is obviously the sequel to 1939's Wizard of Oz with some notable changes. For example, here is Dorothy, who is now an even younger girl than she was in the original, which always baffled me. That doesn't make sense. And you've got a new bunch of lovely characters here. I can't remember all, I know that one's TikTok, but it's, you know what, for the most part, this is good fun. I'll just quickly show you the spine. There it is. And there's the back. So yeah, Dorothy goes back because she won't stop talking about Oz, and they try and shock it out of her. Hilarity ensues. She's back in Oz, basically. But this film, what everyone will tell you, this film is creepy. Like, there's a lot of elements in here that scared people when they were kids. It still scares me a little bit now. The Wheelers, need we mention the Wheelers? The Wheelers are terrifying. I mean, just look at them. They're creepy. But overall, you know what, there's some pretty impressive practical effects work in here, and even though it doesn't have the same magic as the original did, do you know what, it's not the worst sequel we could have been given. Let's have a look at the cover. So here is the cover. This is pretty common. That was quite an old cover, I think, and there is your hand-drawn image there. So, you know, you've got your 3 familiars here, the Scarecrow, the Tin Man, and the Lion, who all look really different and even more freaky than they did before. And some new characters there too. Back has the same synopsis, etc, etc. So if you're interested, it's definitely worth your time. It's not a bad film by any means, just a lot of creepy elements that you might not expect in a PG rated film. And being an '85 release, this will go between Tron and Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Next we have The Rocketeer from 1991. I haven't seen this one, but I absolutely love this cover art. So whatever this film is about, I'm in. Just look at that. It's kind of like an Iron Man vibe. It kind of looks like Iron Man from the 1930s, which I believe is where this is set. Yeah, there you go. Set in glamorous 1930s Hollywood, and it's in the tradition of Raiders of the Lost Ark, apparently. And you got some big names in here. Jennifer Connelly's here. Timothy Dalton's in this, who only did a Bond film 2 years prior. This one I've heard quite mixed things about from the Disney fandom. Some people either really love it, or some people really don't love it, and they actually despise it. So, who knows on that front. But, let's take a look at the cover. So there's your cover, a much less exciting cover, if I do say so. So there's the Rocketeer himself flying away, and here is your main cast of characters, and a bit more of plot. I definitely prefer this cover. That's such a better cover compared to this. Makes me wonder why that wasn't the cover for a more. So yeah, The Rocketeer, it's one I'll probably get round to eventually. Let me know in the comments if you enjoy it. But again, from the fandom, I've heard very, very mixed things. And as this is from 1991, it will slot here nicely between Who Framed Roger Rabbit and 101 Dalmatians. Speaking of Dalmatians, oh boy, here we go. 102 Dalmatians from 2000. Now, I absolutely love this film. I think this film is so underrated. It's so good. There's the side look for it. I'd even argue, for me, this is much better than the 101 Dalmatians live-action film that came out a few years prior. So, what is the plot here? Well, we see Cruella de Vil. She's all reformed. She's not after dogs anymore. You know, she loves dogs. It's all good. But then hilarity ensues when she, something goes wrong. I'm not going to explain how. And she falls back into wanting dogs and puppies and Dalmatians. And there is actually a small link to the first one besides Cruella de Vil, who's still played fantastically by Glenn Close. It's the fact that the adult male Dalmatian in this, Dipstick, was one of the original 15 puppies from 101 Dalmatians, so you've got a nice carryover there. And the central characters, you've got Oddball, the puppy with no spots, and Waddlesworth, who is a bird who believes he's a dog. Oh, he talks as well, that's always fun. Yeah, this one's just a good time, it's good fun. It doesn't take itself too seriously, which I think sometimes 101 did. 101 was also a bit slow at points. This is just all and out fun. And the sequence at the end, the whole cake factory chase, used to scare me a little bit as a kid. I don't know why, but it's pretty horrific what they do to Cruella. But all that said and done, let's have a look at the inside. So there you go, this is the cover we've all seen. I don't think it's actually changed. So there you've got Oddball and Waddlesworth there. And there's the back, bit of this, bit of that. Some special features on there, which is nice. So yeah, guys, honestly, if you haven't seen it, please watch 102 Dalmatians. I think a lot of you who haven't seen it will be very pleasantly surprised when you do. And being this is 2000, it will slot very nicely between the first 101 Dalmatians and the first Pirates of the Caribbean film. Moving on to another I've seen, this is Saving Mr. Banks from 2013, starring Tom Hanks and Emma Thompson. Now, this film is really beautiful in a way. It tells the story of the author P.L. Travers, who authored Mary Poppins, and the whole thing about how Walt Disney, played by Tom Hanks, tried to get her to hand over the rights and how they can, make a Disney film of it. And it sounds really silly when you first hear about it, but it's a very gripping drama, and there's also a lot of heartache in it. There are some very harrowing scenes in here. It's one of Disney's best modern live-action films, certainly. I mean, obviously they have a wealth of source material on it. It's about their company and their founder, of course. Let's have a look at the inside. No cover variation here. This is the one that's been out for years now, so when her book ended, the real story began. Emma Thompson, Tom Hanks, all that sort of stuff down there. There's your plot again. Lots of 5 stars, as you can see. Yeah, as I said, this is truly one of the best live-action films Disney's ever put out, and if you haven't seen it, I really urge that you do. And as this film's from 2013, it will slot between The Lone Ranger and Maleficent. And last but not least, we have Into the Woods from 2014. There's Meryl Streep on the front. And I'll be honest, guys, I didn't like this film. I'm a bit familiar with the original musical, and I was quite excited when I heard Disney were doing an adaptation because, it's Disney, but I don't know, the story just dragged along. And I mean, all the characters, James Corden I didn't really like, Emily Blunt I didn't think was a good choice. Some things were too laboured. I thought Meryl Streep's promotion was too heavy, considering she's not in it that much, and I just thought this was really botched, if I'm honest. I mean, there's your little synopsis of it. I have it over earlier. It's also very long, which I know you're condensing a musical, but it just wasn't good. There's the cover that we've all seen. That's what's been out. And yeah, I mean, Meryl Streep was okay. Emily Blunt, James Corden, no. Anna Kendrick, I just thought she was there. Totally forgot Chris Pine in it. Chris Pine Probably had the best bit doing the agony song, and I mean Johnny Depp as the wolf, that doesn't even warrant a credit really because he's in it for one scene. So yeah, this is definitely far from Disney's best. It wasn't even that good, and I mean only if you're a die-hard Disney fan or you really love the musical would I recommend this. If you're just a casual fan, avoid Into the Woods. And as it's from 2014, it takes place at the very end of this shelf, if I can get it in, just after Maleficent. There we go. So overall, guys, the 7 there, if you can still see the spine, that was the new additions to the Time to Believe collection. Some of these I'm really happy with, like Bedknobs and 102 Dalmatians, Saving Mr. Banks. Some of them I haven't seen yet, like the Rocketeer, and I'm excited to. And you know, there's, as I've said before, there is a great, and that's really annoying me. Sorry, the Rocketeer doesn't have a blue rating thing there. If you just look at the rest of these, that's horrendously annoying. It's like with the Black Cauldron up here, doesn't have one either. Who knows? Anyway, enough sidetracking. The new 7, if you're interested in picking them up, in the UK, HMV is probably your best bet. And what was nice was they weren't all full price DVDs. Each of these 7 was either £4 or £5, so they're quite affordable to get one at a time. Or if you do what I did and get the bulk load at the same time, it'll cost you around £30, which for 7 movies in this day and age, not being full price is not a bad deal. I'd get them now before Disney marks them up to a fuller price, because obviously they like to do offers at first. And yeah, go with whatever is your favourite. If you haven't checked out the rest of the series, please do, because there's some great gems on here from spanning all across Disney's live action history, really. I hope they continue to release more of these. There's some classics that we haven't seen yet that hopefully will get a release, but we'll just have to wait and see how these do. And that has been the Time to Believe collection update. If you want a more in-depth look at the other Time to Believe titles, please check out the video I made on that. I'll leave that in the end slate of this video. Please like, comment, share and subscribe, and until the next video, I will see you all next time.